Hello, this is the UNSW GeoGuessr week, I believe, 3 of the weekly challenge. So this week's country is Russia. We have 6 seeds, 3 of them being no move, 3 of them being NMPZ, and we'll be going through each of the rounds to hopefully for you guys to learn something. So yeah, let's get right into it with the first seed here, and let's look at the first location. And this location would be pretty heavily favored towards Moscow because we have a black Generation 4 camera here. Sorry, we have a black car here, and in the Generation 4 camera, and as you can see, it is quite rare. So if I bring up the JSON here, you can see it's pretty rare outside of like big cities, right? So there's like a couple in Perm, some in Kazan, Voronezh, Moscow, right? But like you can see, most of the coverage is kind of centered around Moscow and like kind of this area as well. So when you see Black Card Gen 4 and like the vegetation, it feels like it could be Moscow adjacent, like as this one does. Like we have quite a bit of like like thinner trees up here, which is pretty indicative of the latitude. Um, yeah, you should probably click Moscow here, and also it feels pretty warm, so I think that would be the default click. All right, so moving on to round two, which is a bit more ambiguous. This one's red car. So red car is probably the most useful Gen 4 car meta to know in Russia because it's not too common and it's very easy to spot. So as you can see, it's quite wide ranging, but other than like a few pockets in the west where like, most of its winter coverage, you get most of it kind of just around in the middle, right? So you have a bit towards like Sugut, so Kantimansi and Yamal in the nets, and you have some towards Human, Novosibirsk, Kemerovo, Krasnoyarsk, Irkutsk, etc. Right, and also some Uday as well. So this round is I would say with the angle. So as you can see, we're going fairly north south here. It'll probably lean me towards a couple roads. So the first one is this Novosibirsk road. Oh, sorry, Kemerovo road, south of Kemerovo. There's this road which kind of goes to Irkutsk from Krasnoyarsk. Although the north-south angle probably wouldn't work as well because there's not too many angles that would fit on this road. So with the northern vibe that I got from this round, like the trees kind of feel a bit thinner. I don't know. It's a bit hard to distinguish, but I went human here and it was actually correct. So yeah, this is the other road that has the red car in Gen 4, and this one goes all the way up north. So yeah, if you're kind of like feeling I would say it's pretty hard to distinguish between the two, but yeah, human or like Krasnoyarsk road. So yeah. All right, round three, we have Murmansk. So this one's very recognizable. We firstly just kind of feels like Norway, right? We have like very low vegetation here. It feels very cold, and we have some fireweed on the side of the road here as well. It's very hilly, and it's also very rocky. So you can see there's like rocks on over here. There's rocks on the side of the road as well, and also we have a yellow center line, which is very common in Murmansk. So hopefully everyone got that. Round four is going to be Smolensk. This one's fairly ambiguous, I would say. This one has a short A-type antenna. So in Gen 3, there's quite a few types of antenna. So this one is, we have the highest ridge, as you can see, on the right side. So that will be the A-type, and on the B-type, it will be on the left side. So short A-type is not too common. You get it in a few clusters here. So you get some in like up here, you get some in Smolensk and Moscow, and like some of these western oblasts. You get some down south near Krasnodar, and you get like a cluster kind of like near Orenburg, Samara, and Kazan, right? So they're not too common. I think this is very worth learning, especially playing no move. But with the vibe here, it definitely feels western. Have a few Scots pines as well, so that would definitely lean you towards more west because you see them a lot in the Baltics. And yeah, I would say like for this landscape, Smolensk or Kaluga will make the most sense. Maybe even Moscow with the big road, but any of those guesses I think is fine. It's very hard to oblast streak in the west. So the final seed, so the final round of this seed is a very famous road. So these dry steppe mountains are only common in pretty much one area of Russia, which is going to be around here. So there's this road in Shakana, which is the where the round was. So you can see we have like a lot of these dry steppe mountains. We have this road in near Kizil, so you can get it kind of north and south of Kizil. It like landscape kind of looks pretty similar, as you can see. And also there's a road in the Altais that can look like this, especially down more south towards the Mongolia border. You can see like these mountains are pretty similar. So Yeah, I mean it could be difficult to distinguish the two, but I would say the main difference is going to be in Altai, so in Altai Republic, sorry, these roads would generally have outside lines, as you can see here, whereas on in here it would not. So it's you can see it's pretty. There's no outside lines here, and the road lines are much more faded as well. And also you can use the road angle, the compass to kind of help you 5K as well, which is great. And yeah, so pretty much those are the only areas that you can get this kind of landscape in Russia. So that's just kind of like a knowledge check. All right, now moving on to C2. This is also no move. The first round's up here. So this one is pretty far north, Yamal in the nets, and as you can see, we do have the red car here as well. So if you go back to the JSON, you can see red Gen 4 car. You can see like yeah, it goes all the way up. So the vegetation here is quite short actually. Uh, yeah, I would say it is quite short. Like we do have like pretty northern vegetation. It feels pretty cold. Other northern roads, by the way, it might be worth mentioning in the north. So like you get quite a lot in Gen 4. You get it like around here in kind of Western County Muncie and like in Comey and the Nets. These will have no car typically. So if I select both of them simultaneously, you can see these northern roads up here would have no car visible, and these roads up here it would be red car. So near Novi Uruguay, and that's how I think that's the best way to find it because it's a pretty big town. It's very easy to find on the map. You can just kind of zoom in and just look at the road going either side of it, and you can line up the 5K kind of that way, I guess. Line up the road for the 5K. But yeah. Also, it might be worth mentioning. Usually, you would see a railway line to your south as well because there is a railway line running across this road. We do not see it in this round, unfortunately. But yeah, just on the other side of those trees. But yeah, sometimes if you do see this, the railway to the south, it's a very good indicator as well. All right. Second round, we have a very southern. We have a Cherkessy, and this round's a bit. It's a bit ambiguous, I would say. If you don't know the meta, which is that if you have silver, if you have white car, which you can't really see in this panorama, but this has to be white car because the combination is if you have a white car, with B-type long antenna, so you can see the highest ridge. It's a bit hard to tell with the long antenna which side it is on, but this side you can tell like it's kind of on the left, the higher ridge. If you have white car B-type long antenna in the summer, you will always be in Cherkasy, which is this town over here. Cherkasek, sorry. So, but yeah, if you don't know an antenna, how do we get this route? I would say the first thing is these small white flowers on the side of the road here. It's very common in the south. Oh, some nice doggies as well. Yeah, and these are pretty common in the like the kind of warmer areas. So there's you get them all the way kind of from like I would say Ulyanovsk, like up here, like near the Volga, all the way down here. So kind of like from Saratov to down here, and you get maybe like a bit more north as well. Yeah, it's like something like around Ulyanovsk and to the south. We also do have some poplars as well over here. So poplars are a very good indicator of the area kind of more southern and also on the Ukraine border. You get some occasionally near Kazakhstan as well. And also we do have some rolling green hills. These hills are pretty, I would say they feel pretty warm, like warm climate. So like definitely somewhere around like the south would make sense where it gets a lot more warm, like the Black Sea area. Yeah, the Caspian Sea as well, maybe you could say. But yeah, generally, this guy kind of feels more cold, so you'll probably click somewhere south. And yeah, that's probably it. I think the main thing to remember is if you could see the white car, which isn't always visible, unfortunately, yeah, in the town it will always be Cherkasy. So yeah, you can always really send that. That's the only place in Russia with that combination with a white car, long B-type antenna in the summer as well. Round 3 is in Saka. So we do have a lot of larches here. So we have larches here. And also, yeah, it just feels very much like Saka. It's very cold climate. Generally, it will be white car here. It might be good to remember that, especially if you're a Russia beginner, because white car is very rarely found in Russia. You can kind of like see a little bit of it here, I suppose. Like it's a bit hard to tell if it's like white or in this car, but you can tell there's like a hint of white towards the front of the road there. It's not very common in Gen 4. Like there's only like a few places that you can get it. Other than the west, it's pretty much only in this north part, kind of like starting from yeah, Berkut. So north of Berkut all the way to Yakutsk, and then all the way up down to Murny and Magadan. This is all red car. Oh, sorry, all white car. So that's good to keep in mind. If you don't know it, we can't really see it here, unfortunately, but yeah. Here, where it's paved and also well maintained, you can see the road quality is pretty decent for Russia standards. You'll probably want to go west of Yakutsk because this part is more often paved than the eastern part here, because this road is usually unpaved. And yeah, you can kind of just like line up the, yeah, you can just try and scan across this road until you find the gas station to 5k. All right, round 4 is Yekaterinburg. So this one's not the most straightforward round, but antenna really helps us here. So we do have the B-type antenna here. As you can see, the highest ridge is indeed on the left side. That will be the B antenna. And you get that in 5 main clusters here. So you get that kind of like near the west and around Nizhny. You get that southern, like kind of near like Belgorod, these kind of oblasts. You get the south, like Rostov, and also Lista as well. And you get like random bits and pieces here. But the main parts that we want to look at in this round, because we have some big mountains here, like fairly large hills, is going to be the Urals area, so Yekaterinburg and Tyumen, and also it is worth mentioning you can get some towards Novosibirsk as well. But yeah, the landscape there is going to be way more flat compared to this. So with the hills, you probably just want to click somewhere near Yekaterinburg or Tyumen. And also we do have a lot of birches here. So a lot of birch clusters, which is also a very good indicator for Yeka or Tyumen as well. Moving on to round 5 here. This one's Kirov. So this one's a bit interesting because there's only one road that looks like this with this antenna in Kirov, which is the blurred antenna here. So the blurred antenna, if you guys don't know, I think is a very useful high yield antenna. I think you should all know it. But essentially the blur, oh, that's the tilted. Where is the blurred? Blurred short. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I guess I'd put the tilted one in as well. But yeah, you can see the blurred short antenna is pretty much in 2 clusters here. You get a lot in the south here, so near Stavropol, and you get it in the middle around Ufa as well. So with this kind of like road quality and also the kind of redness of the road, I think Ishevsk or Perm is a very reasonable guess because we do have the the blurred short antenna in these oblasts as well. They show up quite a lot. And it does happen to be this road here, so Kirov, the road that, yeah, the only road in Kirov that has this antenna. I'm not too sure how to differentiate between the two, but they are very close. So, you know, it's not really 2 big points if you send the wrong duels, but yeah, not too sure how to get the right road in this one. I guess the latitude might also help, which is and you can get it kind of by looking at these flowers here. So you have a lot of purple and like white flowers, and these are pretty common, I'd say, north of the Moscow latitude. So if you draw a horizontal line from Moscow to the side of Russia, you kind of just want to go north of that to where you get these kind of flowers. The longer ones compared to like the smaller, shorter ones that you get in the south. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Now seed number 3. The first round is pretty I would say pretty cool lock. We have a School of Ducks here. That's pretty cool. But the main thing to get from this round is that we have Gen 3 autumn coverage, and also we do have the A-type antenna here. So this combination is only found in 3 oblasts mainly, or I guess 4. So you get it a lot in Belgorod, which is the one down here. You get a lot in Bryansk, which is this one, and you get a lot in Tula. And also the other one that you get a lot is Kaliningrad, but generally Kaliningrad would have a brake light here, and also way more oak trees. These trees just don't feel like Kaliningrad. So if you don't know what I mean, you can kind of click around Kaliningrad to find out on the map making app. But yeah, essentially, though we're pretty much in between those 3 oblasts here, and also a good indicator is also the dark soil, which is very common in the western, the agricultural kind of western southern oblasts as well. So it can get really hard to tell them apart typically, but there is a way, I guess. Like each of these oblasts has a vibe to them. This one kind of feels a bit hilly, right? Like you can see, like in the distance, you have some hills. this is typically why I lean Belgorod over the other two. Typically, Bryansk is a bit more flat. Tula will have a megalon antenna, which we don't really see here. A megalon is just the antenna, a much longer than usual antenna. You kind of just know when you see it. And also, Tula will typically have sharp blur as well. So if I just kind of click around Tula, um, hopefully give me something. Hopefully give me yeah. Um, Typically you can see towards the front of the card, the blur gets a lot more sharp and like angular. That's a more common thing in Tula compared to other oblasts. So that's pretty good to know. And we don't really see that here. So if I zoom in, it doesn't really look. It's a bit hard to tell, but it looks a bit more round from this angle, right? So that's pretty good. That's pretty useful. And yeah, that's I guess how you get Smogger, but it can get pretty difficult to distinguish between both of them, between all of them. So yeah. Round number 2. This is pretty much a knowledge check type of round, which is the Baikal sand dunes. So this is just got a very distinct landscape. You just get on the island of Lake Baikal here, which is the big lake near Irkutsk. And you get it like I mean, generally it'll be pretty hilly. It's very sandy, and you'll see water pretty near you. And on the island or near the island, you'll get a lot of sunset coverage as well, which does check out for this location. Round number 3 is this road. It's kind of in the middle of the town here, but yeah, we have big mountains to the south, and also we have a B-type long antenna. So you can see the highest ridges on the left here. Typically, if we look at the distribution of the B-type long antenna, you can see it's not too common in the west. It's only somewhere around Moscow, a little bit around Ufa, but the main like cluster is around here. So in the east, so you get a lot in north of Krasnoyarsk, you get it in Bratsk as well, and you get it in this kind of area as well. So kind of like the Circassia, Abakan kind of area, and I would say with the mountain south, this is pretty much the only thing that makes sense. This area is kind of much more forested, and also it's quite urban. So as you can see, these unless it's like downtown Bratsk, which doesn't really make sense because there's no mountains to the south of it. Yeah, pretty much only Abakan would make sense because we have mountains in the distance. But yeah, let's move on to round number 4 in the no move seed. So this one is very south, and immediately this is kind of just like a landscape kind of thing, right? We have no car in Gen 4, and also we have very like vast open fields, and also very open landscape with rolling hills, and also we do have no car in Gen 4, which is pretty common all throughout Russia, but in this landscape is pretty much only near the south in the Caucasus. Where you can kind of get a landscape like this, where it's really open, but you have some like rolling hills, but it feels kind of cold at the same time because this was taken like in kind of like winter. So yeah. Round number 5. This one's Kirov. So this one I would say is a pretty tough Kirov because it's very rare to get this combination in Kirov, which is yeah, because I think Kirov is typically low C type or something. Oh no, C type short antenna all the way like pretty much all around Kirov. So yeah, it is pretty hard to get it from antenna. But yeah, this kind of combination is pretty much the A-type long antenna combination will pretty much only be found in the west, right? So you get it like mostly around Leningrad, Moscow, a bit more north, Archangels, Karelia, Murmansk, yeah, and also a bit more south, Bryansk, Belgorod, whatever. But yeah, this combination is only around there. You can see Kirov is not included because all of it there is C-type antenna, as you can see. But yeah, this one's pretty hard to get with the antenna, but I think landscape-wise, this is pretty gettable. You get a bit like long flowers, and you have like very sandy shoulders on the road. So the sandy shoulders are very common in Nizhny, I would say. Like which is like up here. You can kind of click around there, and also the flowers feel more northern because they're kind of like fireweed. So you'll go a bit more north, and you kind of if you combine the two meadows, I guess you can kind of like get up in Komi. In Kirov because like the flowers are Komi, the road is in Nizhny. You kind of go in the middle, kind of Kirov, right? So yeah, that I guess would make sense, but it's very difficult to get if you're just looking at the antenna. All right, now moving on to NPZ. So these ones would be a bit shorter because they're much more vibe carry. We're not going to look at antenna on these ones because it is NPZ. Most of the time, you won't be able to see the antenna in world main maps. So we're just kind of going vibe. So the first round here is in Nizhny. We do have, again, very sandy shoulders here on the side of the road. And also you have these trees, which I often associate with around like the area kind of from Saransk, which is up here, Saransk, all the way to like Oriel. So kind of like in between this kind of general area, I would say, is where you get these trees where it's like almost like a Christmas tree, right? It's like a very large base at the bottom and kind of goes into a small like triangle shaped tree at the top. So I would say that's a pretty good meta. Yeah, I think most people click around Saransky in this round, which definitely makes sense. But yeah, pretty tough to commit all the way to initially that, I would say. Round number 2 is in Orenburg. So this one's a bit tricky. I think quite a few of us missed this. We went like Astrakhan or something, but these bushes are the main thing to get Orenburg here, I would say. When it's firstly, it's very flat and it's quite green in Gen 4. I guess definitely the first thing that comes to mind would be Dagestan as well, but like generally Dagestan's winter coverage just doesn't feel like winter. Like these trees are pretty alive. These bushes also, yeah, really Orenburg. So yeah, all of this was covered in May as well, so it definitely makes sense with the season. So yeah, I guess Orenburg is very gettable, which is not something you might immediately think of. So round number 3 is a bit interesting. We have a very densely forested road, and it's quite thin as well. So when I see this, I'll definitely lean western in general. We do have some like yellowing on the leaves. Like it feels a bit more like I guess yellow because it is sunset, but like we do have a bit of like yellow in the leaves you can see here, and this would probably lean you towards kind of like start of autumn, I'd say, like maybe somewhere like sometime around August or like somewhere in the west, right? Generally, August coverage isn't too useful, I'd say, but yeah, it's quite a tough round to get Moscow Oblast in this. Like the road is kind of poor quality and it's kind of reddish, so like it might lean you towards like Yaroslavl or like Kostroma, where like the road quality is really bad in this Oblast. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty tough to get just Moscow Oblast there, I'd say. But you can at least get the general area, which is most of what we're here for anyway. Okay, round number 4 is Abakan. So these green step mountains, again, I'm going to mention, are pretty common in Abakan. They're much lower this time, and also it kind of feels hazy. It's just a very like vibeable kind of area in Russia in general. So yeah, I guess that would help. And also the cloudiness also makes a lot of sense for around Abakan. Round number 5 is pretty ambiguous, I would say. This one's actually in Tula, and you can, I guess it's very hard to like pull the oblast unless you kind of sniff the car, um, and know it's like what C type short antenna, whatever. But yeah, it's pretty tough, I would say. However, this general landscape was kind of open, kind of feels agricultural. We have like kind of roads like almost poplars. We'll definitely lean you towards the west or the south here, so near the Ukraine border. So yeah, I would say it's pretty hard to guess, but like generally you can click something like Lepetsk or Tambov to kind of hedge for everything if you get this type of round. So yeah, Tula definitely makes sense for that. Right, moving on to scene number 5 here. Round number 1. So we have a fairly ambiguous round, I would say. Uh, the abundance, like we have a lot of like thin trees, right? We have like kind of Scots pines almost. It will probably lean you more north in this instance. Also, the roadside is pretty rocky, which kind of checks out for like the kind of northern parts of Russia. I'm not sure how to get like Novgorod Oblast specifically on this round, but yeah, I guess if you combine the vibes of like Smolensk, which has kind of like the soil but more pink, more pinkish soil, and also the Karelia with the like the rocky kind of roadside and the trees, you kind of get in the middle, I guess, like between Karelia and Smolensk. But yeah, that's a pretty tough round to get double blast in, I would say. But yeah. Round number 2. Okay, this one I think was the main impossible round. I think not a single person got this round. I think pretty much everyone sent Krasnodar. I did as well. It felt really warm. Kind of felt like the Black Sea. Kind of felt like Ukraine. But apparently Vlad or Sen said these trees kind of feel like Habarovsk because he mapped it, but he didn't commit it. But I mean, he thought of it at least. So I guess yeah. I don't know. If anyone has a meta on how to get this NPZ, please let me know because I have no idea how to get this. Anyway, we're gonna move on. That round's just a bit chopped, but yeah. Round number 3, we have autumn coverage in Gen 4 here. So in Russia, that's pretty common in kind of the southwest. So you get it a lot like down here. You get it in like Kursk somewhat, and you get it kind of like all the way up to like Tatarstan, so near Kazan. So from like Kazan all the way down here, pretty much. So yeah, that's where most of the autumn coverage is gonna be. In Gen 4, yeah, in Gen 4, like when like we don't have like dead trees, like it's not really snowy. There's still like kind of tree clusters. I like to click around Penza. Generally like Penza will have like a lot of red car, but I mean I guess you can't really see it in this round. Um, but yeah, it's kind of narrows down the options. So it's really good to know where you can find winter Gen 4 in Russia. And yeah, generally I like to click kind of Penza, but yeah, I guess Moldavia is kind of close enough. So yeah. Also, generally, one thing to help you solve 50/50s is in Ryazan, it'll be typically very rainy. So if you see very wet coverage in winter Gen 4, you can probably click Ryazan. Round number 4 here. This is Ulan Ude. So this is another kind of knowledge check round, which is just kind of like, do you recognize this landscape? If not, then you don't get the area. But it's very fortunately it's very easy to recognize. It's just yeah, it's just like these kind of tall pines. This kind of thin dirt road just feels very, very Buryatia. Like Buryatia just has a very distinct vibe. I think it's something you can kind of really easily recognize after you've seen it a few times. So yeah, I think the only other places can be in Russia would be like Komi or Arkhangelsk, but the trees would be very different. Round number 5 here is going to be this road, which is very, very recognizable. This road is pretty much always going to be either rainy or sunset, and this one kind of looks like a bit of both, kind of. But you'll always be driving like on this road. You always be driving towards the north or the west here, which we are. We are driving north. So we know it is going to be kind of this road running down to the east. And generally, the more south you go, the more rainy it will get. So around Birobidzhan is when it gets really rainy, and around Sivaki or I guess Nevir, however you pronounce it, this kind of area is a bit more sunset. So yeah, that's generally where you would click in this type of round. And moving on to the last seed here. Let's just look at round 1. The first round is you get this very like kind of dark red soil. So generally in Russia, when you get red soil, it's very common, I would say, in Ishevsk and Perm. So Ishevsk is this one, and you get it kind of in this kind of area. And I would say it's yeah, it's quite hilly. There's like quite a lot of birches. It's just yeah, an overall safe zone. Ice and Ishevsk, I think it was actually Perm, but yeah, it's pretty hard to like solve like the 50/50 sometimes. Generally, what I like to do is I look at the road quality. The worse the road is, the more I lean Perm. I mean, it doesn't always work. As you can see here, this road is like fairly okay for Russia standards when Ishevsk, but it was Perm. But yeah, it's just something like you can keep in mind to solve some 50/50s. Round number 2 here is going to be Leningrad Oblast. So we have like this kind of like brown reddish dirt is with this open kind of landscape to the right. It kind of almost feels like Baltic in a way, right? It's pretty common in northern Pskov, like kind of up here. Like there's not too much coverage, so you won't always see it, but it's also very common in Leningrad as well. So yeah, also I think one thing to note is that these cabbage plants on the both sides of the road, so here and here, they're very like not really cabbage, but like they kind of look like yeah, I don't know, like some thick butternut bushes or whatever. Very common around Leningrad as well, I would say. Round number 3 looks like another Western roulette type of round. So yeah, not too much to say on this one. It's very, very difficult to get the oblast in the rounds like these. But yeah, I would say like the overall open landscape and like these kind of trees again, they're kind of similar to the ones I mentioned before, where it goes from kind of from Saransk to Oriel, like this kind of area. They kind of have it. So yeah, it was kind of like in between. It was like yeah in liaison. So very tough to pull the uploads out, I'd say. But yeah, that's all I got for that round. Round number four. This one, okay, this one's Gorner Artaisk. So very recognizable. So the main thing here is there is a front smudge on the cars here. So there is going to be a back smudge as well, but you can't really see it. This one, I'm not too sure on the smudges, but I just know Gorner Artaisk has a very distinct front smudge like this, especially downtown in the city. And also, it's very recognizable because it's like kind of hilly, bordering on like mountainous, right? These are pretty big green covered hills. So it's very recognizable. Yeah, I'll just recommend that, and just keep in mind that you will see the smudge most of the time, even in NPZ, because yeah, you'll be facing kind of the road. So yeah, it's very helpful. And the last round of the last seed is a very difficult round as well. This one's very tough urban round. I think most of us kind of went Krasnodar here, which is very understandable. We have like a lot of poplars. We have like very warm field architecture. Oh, sorry, with vegetation with these kind of like fruit trees or whatever. So yeah, flower trees. So yeah, I'm not too sure how to get Orenburg here. I have no idea. I'm never sending Orenburg here in a game. I'm always going like Krasnodar, like Rostov or something. So if anyone has any like tips on how to get it, mainly I guess from architecture, I would say maybe that's a hint. Yeah, please let me know as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for these seeds. Hopefully we learned something, and yeah, good luck in your future games.